Okay guys, so it's that time again. It's time for the Affiliate School Unplugged. Now last time this went down pretty well. I asked you guys to submit your affiliate and niche site questions. You guys have come up trumps again. There's some brilliant questions in this episode. So just like last time, I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. I'm going to sit down with that cup of tea and answer your questions. By the time the tea's gone, time is up. But I think this is a great format to just be a little bit more unplanned and just try and give you my advice as best I can. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, I have my tea, which is pretty hot. I'll try not to slurp. So we've got a bit of time to go through these, probably about 10 minutes or so. We're going to start off with Martin Herrett, who has put this question in on the community channel on YouTube. And he says that he's going through an SEO affiliate course right now. There's a lot to absorb. He says, I do have an idea for an affiliate site, but I don't know how to start and I'm worried I'm going to mess it up. He's thinking about starting a smaller project, maybe a local SEO project, just to do trial and error. What are my thoughts? And he said, just to be clear, I've never even started a WordPress website before. So my initial thoughts on this are that, yeah, of course, you could start a local SEO project, but you're probably not really going to, you're not going to learn as much as you are by doing an affiliate project. And the reason for that is you can get away with a lot of mistakes in local SEO, and you can get away with a much lower level of SEO and still get good results with local, particularly in comparison to affiliate, where you're going to be going after terms that are commercial terms. They're going to be more competitive. So for me, I think it would make more sense to maybe go into a niche or start a project where you're going after slightly less competitive terms, but as part of an affiliate site. We all make mistakes on our first sites. I still make mistakes on sites that I set up now from scratch, or age domains even. And it's all part of the learning process. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn from those mistakes. The likelihood is that your first ever affiliate site is probably not going to be a massive earner. Now it can be, it certainly can happen, but particularly if the course that you've bought is more focused on affiliate, then I think it makes sense to go down that route, unless you have a real reason to go into local SEO. Maybe you're helping a friend, or you're setting up a lead gen site or something like that, then maybe. But I think if it's for you and your ultimate goal is to get into affiliate, then just start with affiliate. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Ultimately, treat your first project as, because you're so new to it, treat it as a complete learning experience. Ultimately, if you end up setting up a second affiliate site, it's not going to be the end of the world because you've learnt from this first one. The second question comes in from Sally Massa. This was on Twitter, I think. It says, what's your affiliate marketing plans in 2023? Okay, that's quite a big, loaded question. More of the same, really. I think 2022 was the year where, for me personally, I got into aged domains. And I've kind of, in a way, because I've been interviewed on various podcasts around my aged domain case study, I've almost become known as someone that focuses more on aged domains than setting stuff up from fresh. That's not really the case, but it was in 2022. It was just that was kind of what I started to get into. Now, I've had some really good success with age domains. I think the one thing that I would say with that is from the 3 or 4 that I set up last year, it almost feels like a bit of a 50-50 chance of success. And they either kind of take really well and fly, or they kind of do nothing. Even if you really vet them, if you go through brokers such as Odis and SERP names, or whether you buy them yourself at auction, it's a bit of a 50-50. So this year, I kind of really want to focus down on what's what's bringing in the most income to me. I've got a handful of smaller sites, so I've got one in particular that it doesn't really take a lot of time, and it's pretty much all outsourced really, but it's generating about £500 or £600 a month. But it's those types of sites that, because they're still there, they're in the back of your mind, you kind of want to not put too much time and effort into them, and I really want to double down on the stuff that's working well. So for me, it's probably cutting away some of those smaller projects and really doubling down on what's making the big bucks. So there's that. I want to get away from the desk as much as possible this year. So one thing that I'm certainly going to be doing, I've already started to do, is to just get out and network more, meet more affiliates, meet more people, go to more conferences and events and masterminds and that sort of stuff. And then the other thing that I'm really focusing on this year, which I have talked about before, is video. So particularly with EEAT now, we have to show that experience. We have to really show that we've physically used these products. So trying to incorporate more video, more original photography also into my affiliate sites. So setting up YouTube channels for, I've not quite decided. It's probably going to be 3 or 4 channels for my 3 or 4 bigger sites. And more of the affiliate school stuff, because I'm really still enjoying that as well. So that's 2023. And then the one other thing that I'm doing as well is a bit of parasite SEO, which again, it's a bit hit and miss. It's quite saturated, but there are still opportunities out there for that. So next up, next question from Infinity. He said, I bought an indexed 24DA domain with a 17% spam score from Domain Coasters. Should I remove the spam or unnecessary backlinks pointing to the domain? My first question is, why did you buy a domain that had really spammy backlinks? It's not like, I mean, a 24 domain authority, it's not like it's a world beater anyway. The one thing I'd say there is 17% spam score. I'm guessing that's coming through. I think that's a Majestic metric. Yeah, I mean, analyze the links yourself first and foremost. You know, you use a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs. Ultimately, look at those links. What are you determining as spam? First of all, is it like foreign anchor text? Is it completely unrelated anchor text to the domain? Is it links from penalised sites? Exactly what do you mean by spam? If you are really concerned, then yeah, just disavow them. But what I would say is, if that's like an age domain that you've bought to start, then yes, by all means, get it up and running. If it doesn't if stuff doesn't respond in the way that you'd expect within the first 3 to 4 months, then maybe question whether you should have bought this domain and maybe start with something else. But just saying a 17% spam score, it could be absolutely fine. So I wouldn't worry too much, but just do your own analysis on those links. So Nick Cotter has sent a question in saying, how do you balance between ad networks, affiliate offerings and direct brand partnerships? I.e., how do you make a cohesive user experience on your site to drive the most clicks and dollars? This is really easy for me to answer because I just don't do display ads. Now, that's not necessarily an answer that will apply to everyone, because I know a lot of people do rely on ad revenue. It's just not something that I have ever relied on. And of course, I could add display ads to a lot of my sites and generate decent ad-related income. But a lot of my sites are very affiliate heavy. They're very commercial term heavy. So yes, I do have info pages and info content, but nowhere near in the ratios that a lot of people say that you should. And so for me, I don't want to be putting display ads on my affiliate content, full stop. There's clear call to actions that I want people to take, and I don't want them to be distracted. So that makes it very easy for me to answer that question. If I were to run ads, then again, I would say the same thing. I would say I would only run ads on pages where I don't want users to take another action. And usually that action is to get them to click and go through to buy that affiliate offer. Next question from Mike L. This was on Twitter. And by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter and you are on Twitter yourself, give me a follow at Niche Jason. So he has said, you have multiple sites. How do you manage them across the weeks and months? Do you feel some get neglected? Do VAs, writers and other staff work on just one site or many? Great question, that is. I tend to publish every post. So I am always, and this is just a control freak thing really, and I need to probably find a system and find someone to do this for me. But I tend to publish every post. But my writers will obviously write. I'll task them at the beginning of a month, so I'll send out content plans to all of my writers, and then I've got an editor who edits. I think she edits 4 or 5 of my sites now. So she goes in and does all the nitty gritty, you know, the putting images in place and the buttons and proofreading and formatting it and all of that. And really all I do on those sites is I go in at the last minute, just give it a quick once over. I'm talking literally 1 minute. Sometimes I might create some custom artwork for it in Canva. But again, even that, it's 5 minutes max, and then I'm hitting publish and it's done. And that's just all tracked through Google Sheets. So there's just a system in place whereby relevant people have got access to the sheet. Once they've completed their task, they mark it as completed. That then notifies the next person to go in and do what they need to do. And then ultimately it comes to me at the end. Now, there was another part to that question. Do I feel some get neglected? Great question. Yes, I do. And that is one of the reasons why those smaller sites that I talked about, I kind of want to offload, because I know for a fact that I am neglecting some sites. Even a couple of my bigger sites do get neglected. And that's another reason why I have said I probably will make at least one 6-figure sale this year to sell off one of my bigger sites, because I think you do get to a point, don't you, where you kind of max out in terms of just almost from a psychological point of view, how much you can give to a site. And in terms of the people that work on them, so like the writers, I've got some writers that write specifically for one specific website because they have the experience in that niche. And then I've got 2 writers who write across about 3 sites for me, and they tend to be able to apply themselves to all of them. Yeah, so I think that answers that question. Next question from Niche Site Growth. In affiliate blogs, how can we craft an intro or top pick? Okay, I feel like this is a bit of a setup, because I did I've done a couple of videos actually recently with Jamie IF on this channel, so I'll link them in the show notes, in the description. Go and watch that video. I can't answer better than the discussion that was had in that video. So yeah, and top picks probably kind of comes into that. But my one tip on that would be, if you're going to put a top pick or like a quick verdict up at the top, then make it stand out. Make it glaringly obvious that this is where it is. So put a box around it or a nice background colour on it, and give it a title that says this is our top pick, our number 1 pick. But in terms of intros, yeah, check out Jamie IF's video interview that we did. Next question, we're getting through this tea. Oh, great question actually from Zishan, and he has said how to be more productive and avoid burnout. That's a really, really good question. And I think that is something that certainly I struggled with a lot more when I was working. So when I was working on affiliate project at the same time as having a full-time job. It's not something I suffer from as much now. But that being said, you do still need to take breaks. So I've just come back from a 2-week break over the Christmas period, which was great. So you come back kind of feeling refreshed. So taking breaks is important for sure. And I think just you've got to find a schedule that works for you. I have been there. I've been that person that has gone to work all day. I've come back. I've sorted dinner, spent some time with the kids, and then I've sat from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. working on my sites. That's really tough. And if it gets you to the point where you can then quit your job, great. But there's a period of time, I think, where it's only healthy to do that for so long. And it might be that that's what you need to do for the first 6 months to really hit the ground running. But you know what? It's not a race. So unless you feel desperately like you need to do this as quickly as possible, then just take your time. Don't be afraid to take your time with it. In terms of being more productive, just get rid of the distractions. That would be my biggest piece of advice. If you're sitting there, even if you're sitting there from say 9 p.m. until 11 p.m, get rid of this. Turn off any email notifications, Telegram, whatever it is on your computer, on your laptop. Turn this off and just be productive. If you're working full time on this, then there are apps that you can get. I've just downloaded one actually that switches off all your social media during the day, and you can say which ones to switch off and when to do it and schedule them. They're quite cool. That it does help. And like I say, just turn your notifications off. Other things like not checking your emails at the start of the day, check them at the end, stuff like that, just to be more productive. Next question from God's Time Success. What is affiliate marketing about? I can't answer that here. It's too loaded. There's too much to go into. I'm pretty sure I've got an affiliate marketing for beginners video, so I'll link that down below. But essentially, affiliate marketing is referring people that are reading your content or accessing your content if it's video, referring them on to an offer, and then when they make a purchase, you get a commission. That's essentially what it is. And the next question from Oku, I think it is. I apologise if I pronounced that name incorrectly. And when it comes to niche sites, is there a point at which your topic becomes just too niche, and how do you figure that out? I'm going to take a sip while I think. That's a good question, actually. I don't think it does. I don't think you can get too... The only way in which you can get too niche is if you've not... I think the biggest issue you have here is if you go for like an exact match domain or a partial match domain or something like that kind of really pigeonholes the site. Otherwise, I think it's actually a good thing to be super tight in the niche that you're focusing on, particularly to start with, and particularly for new sites. Because essentially what we want to do is to create this real strong topical authority so that Google sees your site as the authority in that niche. And if you do that, and your brand or your site name and brand allows you to then pivot over to a second facet of that initial niche, then that's the perfect place to be. But if you brand it super tight and then you don't allow yourself that space to pivot to a second one, then it can become too focused and not give you that room for potential expansion in the future. How you figure it out, it all comes down to the keyword research that you're going to do at the start. Is there enough are there enough keywords? Is there enough interest in the niche to say, let's just say, to create 50 pieces of content on that? If there's only enough to create, 5 or 6 pieces of content, then it's too niche. But if there's room for 50 to 100 pieces of content, then and you can cover all of that, you're going to get that topical authority. You're going to be seen as the authority in that niche. Cover it all, and then move on to the next. All right, I think this might be the last question, which is good because we're getting towards the end. I can't stand drinking cold tea. This is from Jamie IF. What's your plan for dealing with ChatGPT integration into the SERPs and becoming multi-channel or winning on EEAT in 2023? And Jamie, of course, it's Jamie asking the most difficult question to answer. I think the honest answer is, at the moment, I don't know. There's a lot of talk about whether ChatGPT and AI in general is an opportunity or a threat. And I think Jamie might have said this himself, actually, that it's a bit of both. The obvious threat is to Google as we know it and how people use search. But I was on a podcast yesterday, which should air in a couple of weeks, with Everflow, an affiliate platform, and I was saying very much the same thing, that Google. There's always been a threat to Google. Google has to continue to invest, and that's why they put out these updates. They're not sitting on their laurels. Google are not going to sit there and just allow, or they're certainly not going to just allow themselves to be walked over and a new system comes into place. I think in terms of search, I think there's definitely a place for a chat type AI search engine, particularly things like, and the example I gave yesterday was recipes. If I'm looking for a Yorkshire pudding recipe, just typing that in and getting the response is really useful. And then if the recipe's giving me the recipe for 8 people, and I can just type in, oh, can you give me that recipe for 4 people, and it spits that out, perfect. That's where I see ChatGPT or a ChatGPT model of search working really well. From an EEAT point of view, I think it's really, really difficult for an AI model to be able to offer that, particularly in respect of the types of terms that affiliate marketers go after. So your review terms, your buyer's guides, because it needs opinion. And yes, an AI model can maybe bring in 5 or 6 or 10 or a million different opinions. But is that going to satisfy a human who is searching for it? And how does that then get relayed? And where does that information come from in the first place? Because ultimately, if us affiliate marketers do not have a platform, we're not going to create content. So there has to be some kind of middle ground, I think. And I actually think, I mean, again, we're all guessing, we don't know. But I think in terms of using it to win in 2023, it's finding ways to integrate it into your current processes. So it might be that you use it to inform your writing briefs or your headings or your meta titles, or you use it for certain sections of your content. So I do a lot of health related stuff, whereby I talk about ingredients a lot. If I can get a load of information on ingredients, I don't really need too much human input into that. Okay, we might put some input into it in terms of, yes, this is good for this, or it's not so good for that, or this might affect certain types of people. But I think so that can actually really help with the content creation process. But then we're still going to need other sections that I think at the moment AI just can't deliver. So there's certainly lots of opportunity there with it. Of course, it's going to be exploited. The people that exploit it probably will win. But in terms of true exploitation, I think it will be a bit of a churn and burn type scenario. The people that utilise it is probably the better word. Utilise it in a a more effective way, I think will be the true winners, because they will have that long-term success with it. And I think it's one of those things. It's just going to become part of what we do on a day-to-day basis. There's still some way to go with it though. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I feel like I've waffled on for like 15-20 minutes, but the tea is finished. I've really enjoyed this video. Hopefully you have too. If you have, like the video and subscribe, and I'm going to let YouTube decide which video you should watch next. So check out this video, whatever it is, and hopefully you enjoy that one too. Thanks guys. Cheers. It's gone cold.